What's up, everybody? Dog 1985. There's levels to this. Welcome to another episode of the Gamers Perspective podcast. I want to talk to you guys today about the backlog, about this situation that a lot of us are in. That it's it's a good problem to have, but for whatever reason, we don't want to talk of the problem. Now, I'm doing this live on Twitch. I don't even have my chat up right now because I just want to be able to talk freely and have a stream of consciousness, and then I'll go ahead and look at chat. So if you're on chat right now, check me out. I appreciate you. Just give me a second. Let me get my thoughts out, and then we'll go ahead and start reading some chat on Twitch. All right. So the backlog. You know, this generation, when I started gaming on Xbox, I remember plenty of people mentioning how Game Pass to them wasn't a value because they already had a backlog of games that they had to play. Now, that to me didn't make sense because I just simply looked at, well, if you got a backlog already and then you have Game Pass, now that's even just more games that you get to play plus the new games that come out as well, right? But I understood they had to figure out a way to downplay the value of Game Pass, so that's cool and dandy. Now, as the generation went on, I remember one of the talking points in the console wars was the exclusivity. And as we know, both PlayStation and Microsoft are stepping back from what traditionally exclusivity used to look like. Microsoft for sure. Like we know that we know that no game is safe as far as it going to PlayStation. PC, all games are going to PC, but as far as PlayStation, we know that no game is safe. Sony, however, is doing it a little bit more strategic, which in reality, when you want to look at it from the console side or their business with the console side, is a little bit smarter because it gives the illusion that there's a purpose for the console as far as software goes, when in reality the main purpose for the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 5 Pro is because it is the best console on the market if you just like playing on consoles, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that if Sony went ahead and dropped their games day and date, that it would affect their console sales all that much. I really don't. I'm being honest with you. I really don't. I think they have built their brand and they're popular enough to be in a place where they're at right now. So the backlog, though, once the exclusivity thing went away from Sony and they weren't the PlayStation fans weren't saying that you buy a console for exclusivity or whatever. Then it became timed exclusives. I remember they used to say, "Hey, we play. I got a PS5 because imagine waiting for a game." That's a popular thing now on X and on YouTube and in comment sections. You'll see people saying, "Imagine waiting, imagine waiting. I'll never get a PC. Imagine waiting for these games." Or, "Haha, you gotta wait 6 months, or you gotta wait a year, or whatever the case may be." I won't wait for games. But then these same people are the same ones that'll brag or tell you that they have a backlog of games to play. So somewhere along the line, in order to have a backlog, I guess we should define what a backlog is, right? A backlog is a collection of video games that you have that for whatever reason you have not finished. Okay? And here's the biggest point is that you have not finished, but you would go back and play the game and finish it. I'm not talking about those games that maybe you purchased or you bought and then you tried them and you didn't like them and you just know that, hey, I'm not going to waste my time with that game. Yeah, that might be considered a backlog, but we're not looking at that from that perspective. I want you to focus on games that you have in your backlog. I want you to go right now as you're listening to this. Right? I have nothing on the screen that you have to look at. Just listen to this. Go to your games, go to your library and look at the list of games that you have that you're like, you know what, I need to play this game. Yes, I want to go back and play this game. And then I want you to ask yourself, if you have a list of games already that you need to play that you haven't played or that you haven't finished, right? Why are you still buying new games? Why do you say that you're not willing to wait for games? It is weird. Now, these are questions that I have to ask myself. Okay, so I'm not just putting the onus on you. I'm asking this question to myself as well. So I'm starting a small little challenge, which I don't know if I'm actually gonna be able to keep up with it. I'm being honest with you. But I'll tell you guys what that is here in a second. So again, the backlog, just to stay on topic, a list, a collection of games that you have not finished, a collection of games that you have not even started. But more importantly, they're games that you do want to finish and collect. Now, there's something else to backlog that I don't want to leave out, especially for those people out there that do this. The reality is that I talk a lot of trash about PlayStation fans and their platinum trophies and people that 100% games and all that other stuff. But in reality, man, all I am is just talking smack with no hard feelings involved. Because in reality, if you like to 100% a game, then I would argue that you're probably getting more of your money's worth of that game than I ever do. So kudos to you, man. Um, my whole issue is that there's so many games out there to play that sometimes these platinum trophies or sometimes these achievements are just extra fluff work and weird stuff that they have you do to make the game seem or last longer. But if you really like a game, then and you want to and that's part of your enjoyment of the game is platinuming it, 100%ing it, whatever, then who am I to tell you anything different? So if you have games in your backlog that you want to go back and 100% or platinum the game, I'm going to call that a sub backlog. But now what that creates though, for some of you that are like this, that could potentially double your backlog. Right? That could potentially double your backlog. Because now, even though you have played the game and beaten the game, and that I wouldn't put that in your regular backlog, you now have a game that you want to go back and 100%, right? So keep that in mind. With all that being said, gamers, to all my gamers out there, this is the Gamers Perspective podcast. I want you to think about this, okay? You don't have to subject yourself to buying a game as soon as it comes out, especially when these developers and these companies are releasing games that are not at 100%. This entire generation, we have seen too many games that, for whatever reason, the more you wait to play the game, the better the experience that you're having. And that's BS to anyone out there that considers this hobby a passion, that considers this hobby something that they really put their time and effort behind, because you're waiting, because you're spending your hard-earned money to pre-order these games, sometimes pay more for these games, and the version of the game that you're getting is less than someone that's just buying the game on sale because they saw it and might have not even been that interested in the game in the first place. And now they get to play it in all its glory, all its patches, all its DLC, and all that other stuff. So the backlog, guys, to a lot of us, we look at the backlog and it may look like a burden. Like, man, all these games that I gotta play, all this other stuff. I would challenge you to look at your backlog as a blessing and realize that you have a great excuse to not play that game as soon as it drops. You have that great excuse to go ahead and wait 6 months to a year until PlayStation puts that game on PC if you prefer to play it on PC. You have a legitimate reason to wait. I would suggest you turn on your PlayStation, you turn on your Xbox, you turn on your PC, and you start clicking through each one of those games in your backlog, and you start playing them. Here's the beautiful thing about gaming, though, right? Your backlog is whatever you want it to be, meaning that if you played a game for an hour or two and you're just like, yeah, maybe I was interested in this game when it first dropped, but now it's not for me, you can let it go and keep moving on. Let's say you start playing the game and the game just didn't age well, which is perfectly fine. There's some classic games out there that people will consider classic, that because of the controller schemes of today, when you go back and play those games, they just don't age well. And that's perfectly fine. But turn on the game, try playing them, and at least you could be like, you know what, I went through my backlog. But what I'm willing to bet is that you're going to find classics and gems and games that you are going to have a tremendous amount of time with and fun, that maybe do not look like the games of today, Maybe don't have the same exact mechanics as the games of today, but the fun factor, the fun value, the story, maybe the atmosphere, they figured out a way to make it memorable that even till today will last. You know what I mean? There's still certain games today that that we can put up to battle against older games that might lose. You know, I would put Red Dead Redemption 2 up against any modern game today, and you tell me what game blows Red Dead Redemption 2 out of the water. I'll tell you this right now, and I don't think this is controversial, but if you think it's controversial, it's up to you. I think Red Dead Redemption 2 is better than Cyberpunk, and I know Cyberpunk for whatever reason is like a modern classic, or maybe they just use it to get to benchmark because of how unoptimized the game used to be when it dropped. I don't know, but I feel like the world is still obsessed with Cyberpunk 77. That's the one game that never dies. It's everywhere still. But Red Dead Redemption 2, I would definitely put up there, you know. I wonder what you guys would put as a game like that is just timeless. So, now that I said that, let me talk to you guys about the challenge that I have set up for myself when it comes to the backlog. Steam sales, you may or may not know, are they're horrible, and by horrible I mean they're great. Like there's Steam sales all the time on this freaking store. They know how to promote it, and you're guaranteed to find something that you want to buy. It is ridiculous. It is I don't. They have figured out that algorithm for gamers almost as good as Amazon has. Where like, man, you open up the Steam app, you go to the Steam store. Good luck not putting something in your cart. Good luck not putting something in your wish list. Good luck, right? Um, but the challenge that I have set for myself is this. I have a Steam backlog right now of, I think it's like 69 games. And shout out to Blaze 4K. He sent me a message saying, "Hey Doc, I see your Steam library is growing." He said to me, "I think you're getting ready to leave Game Pass." Now I made a video about this before. I do have a plan just in case Game Pass stops making sense. Unfortunately for Game Pass, when I turn on my PC, I prefer to play on Steam. Now, I love the fact that Xbox gives me access to their games on my PC, so I can use my hardware to play those games, right? However, comma, I am definitely, I am definitely um, a bigger fan of Steam and how Steam runs, right? With all that being said, the challenge that I put to myself is this: I will not. See, this is going to be hard for me to say. I will try my hardest not to buy another game on Steam until I complete my Steam backlog. Now, if you want to take that challenge in whatever system that you're on, by all means, come join me. I think it's a great challenge. I think it'll be something dope to do, especially during this holiday time if you have a little bit more time off. Go through your backlog, okay? And this is what I want you to do. The key components to this challenge is this. I will have one game on my PC downloaded at a time. Okay, that's it. Just one game. I might do one multiplayer too, just because from time to time you don't want to keep playing single player games. Sometimes you want to just relax and engage into some like combat. So I might re-download Black Ops 6, but I uninstalled everything. Okay, the only game that I have installed right now, I'll show you guys, is actually I won't show you guys in case you're listening. Is Assassin's Creed. So I went on Steam. I went to my library, and everything is in alphabetical order. And Assassin's Creed, the very first one, is the game that popped up, and I installed it. Now I also uninstalled everything from my Asus ROG Ally, and I installed it as well. So my goal is to run through my backlog, and this is how it's gonna work. I'll play one game at a time. I have to start the game, and I have to at least play the game for an hour. I will give the game an hour. If after an hour I say nope, I don't have the desire to finish this game, I don't have the desire to complete this game, then that's it. It's done, and I will no longer consider that game as part of my backlog. It's just a game that I have collected, but I no longer needed. If you have a physical copies of all these games, if you have a physical backlog, this is even better for you, in my opinion, because I think if you do this and you try it out for an hour, you know that you don't like the game, hey man, go sell that game, go trade it in. It is what it is, you know. If you beat the game, go sell it, go trade it in. Unless you're gonna use it as a sub backlog, like I spoke about, which is the where you go back and platinum or 100% the game, right? But that stipulation number one is I'm gonna run the game, okay, for at least an hour, and give it that try, okay. The second thing is I'm gonna run the game, and if the game doesn't run, meaning like some games on PC, I'm mostly gonna be playing on PC. Actually, this is the backlog that I want to clear is my PC backlog, which is like 70 something games. If the game does not run because it needs something weird like a old Windows version, I gotta downgrade the Windows version or something like that. I think there's like a issue with San Andreas on PC. One of you guys let me know. If that's the issue, I'm not gonna sit here and troubleshoot. So if the game doesn't flat out run, I'm not gonna sit here and troubleshoot because I don't have to. I got a backlog of games. I got other games that are not gonna make me waste my time trying to figure it out how to get it to run. That's number two. So if the game doesn't run, I'm done with it. I'm moving on. All right. So that's another stipulation to move on to a game. Okay. The third way you can move on from a game, I guess that's what I'll call it. How to clear the backlog. How to move on from the game. Okay. So the first one, you gotta try for at least an hour. An hour, I think, is more than enough for you to decide whether you like a game. I don't think you need anything else. Okay. Okay. 1 hour. All right. The second one is gonna be the second one is gonna be like I said. If the game doesn't run, if the game does not run, then that's not your fault. That's whatever is going on. Move on for the game. You're allowed to move on for the game. The third one is if the game is not optimized, meaning as soon as you turn it on, you gotta mess with too many settings. You know, like if you're playing around with settings for about 20 minutes, that's already too much. You're go ahead. You're free to move on from the game. If you're on console, you shouldn't have this problem at all. I'll tell you what, if you're on console and you're playing the game for 20 minutes and you just visually can't do it, like you just don't like the way it looks or the 30 frames are really killing you or whatever, right? Then, okay, you can move on for it as well. And then the last and the final way you can move on from the game is you complete the game. That's number four. Okay? I feel like we should have a fifth. Yeah, we're going to have a fifth. If you get bored of the game, you can move on from it. That's the fifth one. There you go. You see, I'm making it easier for you guys. I'm making it easier for myself too. So play the game for at least an hour. Okay? And after an hour, if you just don't like the game is not for you, you can move on. If the game doesn't turn on right, it doesn't play right, you can move on. If the game is not optimized and it's taking too long for you to get it optimized, this one's mostly for PC, you can move on. Number fourth, you complete the game. Obviously, you can move on. And number fifth is you play the game so long and then you're just not, you have no more desire to finish the game. You feel like you got enough out of the game. Boom, you can move on. If that's the case, then I don't want you to call that game as part of your backlog. The game is just a game that you tried. It's not part of your act. There you go. That's your archived backlog, not your active backlog. So now we got a few different backlog names. We got the regular backlog. We have your sub backlog, which is anything you want 100% or platinum. And then we're going to have the third one, which is your archived backlog, which is just something that you don't see yourself playing the game again, but it's just part of your collection. But you gave it you gave it to do. And there you go. I think I think this is going to be interesting. Now, do you guys want to see what game I'm playing first? The game that I'm playing first is Assassin's Creed. Everything else I have uninstalled. Nothing else is installed in my Steam big picture mode. So Assassin's Creed, the very first one, is the one that I'm gonna play. Now my Steam backlog is the one that I'm working on. I do have an Epic store backlog. What other store do I have games on? I have an EA store backlog and I have a Ubisoft store backlog as well, I believe. But Epic is, oh, I have a GOG one too. The GOG one that I have, because you get games for free if you are a Amazon Prime and Twitch. Something's going on there with Twitch. I don't even know exactly what it is. Somebody can tell me what it is. So there's something with Amazon Prime and Twitch where I don't know if it's because I'm a content creator, but you get a lot of games for free, like a lot of games for free. There's so many free games that I've gotten that's crazy. But this is where I mainly play is on Steam. So this is the backlog that I'm going to concentrate on right now. I do have a backlog on Xbox that's not like Game Pass tied, but it's not that many games. And then obviously we have the whole Game Pass situation, but I'm not gonna use Game Pass as a backlog. Like I'm not gonna play because those games that are on Game Pass, not all of those were games that I would have gotten myself, right? So they're not games that I'm interested in. And this is what I mean. If you have a backlog, you bought this game, especially for, I can speak about Steam at least. If I have a backlog my backlog on Steam are games that I purposely purchased, right? Or someone purposely gifted to me specifically because they thought I would like the game. So it's not like I just saw something on sale and I just picked it up just to pick it up. So there was some type of interest when I made this purchase, or there was some type of interest when someone got the game for me. So that's what I'm talking about when it comes to the backlog. So okay, I'm gonna stop my rant there. I'm gonna go ahead pull up my Twitch app and see if there's anybody in the chat that has dropped some gem or some bars, and yeah, we'll go ahead and take a look. Let's see. Okay, looks like we got 4 people in here, but everyone seems to just be cool just listening, which is perfectly fine. So yeah, so that's my goal, guys. Assassin's Creed is going to be the very first one. Oh, I guess I should talk about that too. Some of these games I have beaten already on other platforms, so that will still fall into the I'm gonna play it still on here, and if I get to a point where I get bored of it because I beat it already, I'm free to move on from it. So guys, it's really not that bad. The backlog challenge is really not that bad. Maybe that's what I'll call this episode, the backlog challenge. Yeah, it is not that bad. I got a friend request. Who sent me a friend request? Let's see. Oh, look at that. You sent me a friend request. We have no mutual friends. I will accept though. There you go. Got a lot of people in game right now. So Broken Games HDR is playing Dragon Age. Charlie Throne and Liberty. I don't even know what that is. What up, Lester? Kings is playing Call of Duty. Endless Sky. Someone's actually playing Stalker 2. Bless their heart. And someone's actually playing Undisputed. Bless their heart. I heard Undisputed is not that good either. Got a lot of people online just not doing anything. And then I got 76 friends offline. I got a lot of people online. I was telling a lot of people, a lot of friends on this. I was telling ISO that it's funny because like I'll be playing a game, especially like on a Friday night or something like that, and I have the pop-ups that tells me like when one of my friends is playing something, right? And you just see the the right corner, like sometimes a few people just be popping up while I'm playing, like, oh, someone's playing this. And it's like I mean I've learned to ignore it, so it doesn't really bother me. But yeah, but again, here it is. Assassin's Creed is gonna be the next game that I play. I'll try it out, see how I like it. Might stream it, might not. The goal is to get through it. You guys can go ahead and follow me on Steam if you want and look at my achievements, and that'll let you know how I'm going through. I just beat Dead Space again last night, so I told ISO I played this game twice. I played it on Game Pass, and then I saw it on sale, and I bought it on here, and I played it again. I really enjoyed this game. I probably could have new game plus it and just done that, but I just wanted to play it on Steam. I don't know. Steam is weird like that. Maybe I'm just weird. But yeah, but guys, I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream there. I think this was. I hope that the message conveys what I'm trying to do. I'm just gonna go ahead and play through my backlog. That's what I'm gonna do. And if I'm playing through my backlog and I realize that I don't need Game Pass, Let me not do that. Dark 1985. Oh man, there's levels to this. We out. Peace.